If you're watching this video, you might be scared of arguing in English, or maybe just not good at it. But it's impossible to avoid arguing your entire life. You have to argue with your family, with friends, your boss, maybe even clients, in business meetings and in university classes. But don't worry, if you follow just a few steps, you can argue smoothly in English without stress or mess. Let's start. Hi, have you got fluency? My name's Pam and welcome back to my channel. I post videos every Saturday to help you improve your English fluency. And help me out, please. You can change my channel, so please comment, subscribe, click the like button. Arguing is really stressful, isn't it? It stresses you and your listener. If you just say your opinion directly, sometimes you offend your listener and it all ends in a mess. But in English, there are certain expressions you can use to avoid most problems that come from an argument. So let's study the expressions for the different stages of an argument. There are 4 stages. Check the point, dig for reasons, give your opinion, and end the argument. When you argue, if you don't understand the point of the argument, then you can't even start. More importantly, if you don't know the point, you might waste energy arguing over something you actually agree with. So, in English, you can check the point smoothly with these words. Do you mean? So you're saying that, is that right? Let me make sure I understand what you're getting at. You think, is that it? This one is polite enough. This one is more polite, and this one is the most polite. But intonation and body language really make a difference about whether these words sound polite or not. Listen. So, you're saying that men are better than women. Is that right? Or, so you're saying that men are better than women. Is that right? Next, dig for the reasons why the person believes their opinion. Maybe they have good reasons or strong evidence, and it's important to find out, right? So, the English you can use for this is, why is that, do you think? Or, what makes you think that? Or, do you have any evidence to back that up? If you want facts, data, statistics, use this one. It is a bit more aggressive than the other two because you're asking for facts to support their opinion. But you might need facts, so you can't worry too much about that. Next, give your opinion. Be a little careful when you give your opinion. A lot of people learning English are very direct when they give their opinion, and that can sound aggressive. So, I'm sure you already know these expressions, but remember to use them when you want to make your opinion sound softer. I think, I believe, and I feel. Also, if you are replying to another person's opinion, you need to add some words first. If you want to argue without mess, you need to show respect for their opinion first. So, to do that, use these English expressions. I see your point, but... Or, I get where you're coming from, but... Or, with respect... The first two are more often used in everyday communication. But if you are in a formal situation, for example, talking to your boss, you can also use with respect. And finally, end the argument. How you end the argument depends on whether the argument changed your mind. If it did change your mind, you can say, wow, actually you're right. Thanks for setting me straight. If you're maybe changing your mind, you can say, you've given me a lot to mull over. Mull over means to think carefully and slowly. If you have not changed your mind but you want the argument to end, you can say, let's just agree to disagree. Now this means you both still disagree on the point, but you just agree to stop talking. If you want to reach an agreement, I'll give you 2 options. Let's say you're arguing over a plan, like where to go on holiday. You could say this: let's compromise. Sound like a deal? But if you're arguing about an idea, like women are better than men, for example, you could say this: we both have good points. Maybe the truth lies somewhere in the middle. And that's it. Argument over. Okay, now we've learned what to say. Next, let's learn how to say it. And we'll do that by looking at a typical example argument between a couple named Karen and Ivan. Okay, here we go. I am so looking forward to a holiday. The sun, the sea. I want to spend a full week doing nothing but stare at the water with a margarita in one hand and crime fiction in the other. So you're saying you want to go to the beach for our next holiday? Of course. Beach holidays are the best holidays. What makes you think that? Seafood dinners, romantic walks in the sunset. What's not to like? I mean, I get where you're coming from, but we went to the beach for our last holiday. Wouldn't you like to try something new? I think renting a cabin in the mountains would be more fun. A cabin in the mountains? Where we can do what? Watch squirrels? Don't knock squirrels. But anyway, there's heaps to do in the mountains. We could even go rock climbing. That'd be so cool. Honestly, no offense, but that sounds awful. I don't want to do a workout on a holiday. Okay, let's compromise. Let's get a lakeside cabin so you can stare at the water, and I will make you a margarita with every lunch. Sound like a deal? Okay, fair enough. Sounds like a deal. Next, let's break down that conversation. It begins with Karen just expressing her opinion. She wants a beach holiday. Then, Ivan follows our arguing strategy. He doesn't say no directly. Instead, he tries to check her point. So, you're saying you want to go to the beach for our next holiday? Notice how Ivan's voice went up a lot at the end of that question? That's so he didn't sound rude. If he had said, so, you're saying you want to go to the beach for our next holiday, then he would be telling Karen what she thinks. So it's better to go up at the end of this question. Listen to me. So, you're saying you want to go to the beach for our next holiday? Now you try. So, you're saying you want to go to the beach for our next holiday? Good job. Okay, so back to the conversation. Karen does want a beach holiday. She says beach holidays are the best. So Ivan goes on to the next stage of arguing, digging for reasons. He says, what makes you say that? Now, be careful with this question. If you stress that, then it sounds like you want to fight. What makes you say that? So be sure to say it like this. What makes you say that? Nice. Next, Karen explains her reasons for liking beach holidays. So it's time for Ivan to give his opinion. And he starts by showing respect for her opinion, which is important to make an argument calmer. So he says, I get where you're coming from, but we went to the beach for our holiday last year. I get where you're coming from runs together, so you sounds like yeah. So now you try it in the full sentence. I get where you're coming from, but we went to the beach for our holiday last year. Good. So Ivan finally gave his opinion, but there's still no stress between them because he's following all the polite stages of an argument. He even said, I think renting a cabin would be more fun. Karen, on the other hand, is messing up the argument. She says things like, where we can do what? Watch squirrels? And oh, that sounds awful. Now, people who are close often do speak like that, but it always makes an argument tougher, right? But no worries. Ivan has the argument under control. So he tries to end the argument by reaching an agreement. He says, let's compromise. Then he suggests a compromise. Then he says, "Sound like a deal?" Notice how his voice went up a lot again on the word deal. If it had gone down, "sound like a deal," that would mean he's forcing her to agree with him. So, be careful. Even one small change in intonation can create a worse argument in English. Anyway, great work. Now you're an argument champion. Be proud of yourself. So, today I taught you how to argue without mess in English. But do you think I can argue like this in real life? It is still not easy. I'm Australian and my partner is Japanese, and we have been arguing together for about 20 years. And what do we argue about? Stupid things, cleaning or being late. And when I look back at the arguments, I think if we had used these strategies, we could have reduced our messy arguments. So, what I'm teaching you, I'm learning a lot too. Okay, that's enough for today. I look forward to seeing you all at next Saturday's lesson. It's going to be a lesson on how to understand jokes. Wish me luck. So, make sure you remember to subscribe so it will show up in your feed. See you then.